to military household, PFC Horn's family moved every 3 years before settling in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where he attended James Irving Middle School and later Fort Carson High School, where he graduated in 2009. And whereas, during his youth, PFC Horns was very active, participating in BMX, T-ball, football, playing for Sierra High School for 2 seasons. And whereas PFC Horns also joined the Civil Air Patrol at Peterson Air Force Base for 2 years and completed encampment at the Air Force Academy. And whereas PFC Horn loved Colorado and even worked at Vail Mountain Resort for a season so that he could enjoy the best that Colorado has to offer. And whereas with his family, PFC Horn hiked 14ers, traveled Colorado Jeep trails, and went dirt biking on many trails. And whereas the Great Sand Dunes National Park Reserve was a particular favorite of PFC Horns, where he would glide down the sand dunes on a snowboard. Whereas during their outdoor adventures, PFC Horns and his family would always make a point to travel Highway 96, stopping at Bishop Castle, where he and his sister Tiffany would race to the top of the iron rails to see who would make it to the top first before continuing on through Westcliffe, Colorado. And whereas January 2010, PFC Horn joined the United States Army as an infantry soldier in the delayed entry program, stating that he wanted to join the Army to fill the boots of the soldiers that have given their lives for me. Whereas PFC Horns graduated basic training on October 29, 2010, but before advancing to his duty station in Alaska, he was offered a ranger position. And whereas before making a decision, PFC Horns consulted with his family and chaplain to confirm his heartfelt sentiment. And whereas PFC Horns eventually made the decision to train with the best of the Army had to offer and became a ranger with the United States Army. And whereas PFC Horns completed his AIT through the United States Army Airborne School in Fort Benning, Georgia, and later completed the Ranger Assessment Selective Program. Whereas Horns class is initially comprised of 176 soldiers, of which 67 completed the program. PFC Horns was one of those 67. Whereas PFC Horns is stationed at Fort Lewis in Washington with Company C, 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. And whereas August 26, 2011, PFC Horns is deployed to Afghanistan. Whereas PFC Horns was a family-oriented man and called home every 3 or 4 days to assure his family he was doing well. Whereas before joining the Army, PFC Horns said to his mother, "If you don't have a purpose in life, it is not worth living." While deployed, he told his family he had found his purpose in life to fight for freedom of his family and his brothers in arms. Whereas, on October 21, 2011, PFC Horns was on night mission with his platoon and stepped on an explosive IED. And whereas PFC Horns died of his wounds at the age of 20 years old. PFC Horns was the first member of both sides of his family to be killed in action. Whereas PFC Horns Award decorations include Parachute Badge, United States Army Expert Rifle Marksmanship Qualification Badge, Combat Infantry Badge, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, the Army Commendation Medal for Combat Service, the Army Commendation Medal for Peacetime Service, and the Afghanistan Campaign Medal. And whereas Lieutenant Colonel Hone, Battalion Commander at the time of PFC Horn's death, stated on his first combat deployment, Private First Class Christopher Horn demonstrated all the qualities we look in our U.S. Army Rangers: Courageous and disciplined, he lost his life while pressing the assault in an area known for insurgency activity. He earned the universal respect of seniors and peers alike. We will honor his service and remember his sacrifice. Our thoughts and prayers with the Horns family. Ladies and gentlemen, what I've just read you is the resolution for the memorial here, and it's quite an honor for me to be involved in it. You know, there's Christopher Horns is just what research I've done him. I did not know him, but through his family and whatnot, I've learned what a unique individual he was. You know, to want to proudly serve his country at that age is remarkable for all of our youth. You know, I've had conversations with people, and I will tell you, there's never been an American soldier who has died in vain for this country, and Christopher Horns is one of those. It was an amazing feat which he did. You know, I thank the parents for the ability to do this for you as well as PFC Horns. But I think it's remarkable courage of our youth and our military